The third iteration of the franchise concludes the story of Shepard. Does the build-up of the previous games lead to a satisfying climax, or was it all in vain? Story. Mass Effect 3 begins 6 months after the events in Mass Effect 2. When Mass Effect 3 starts, Shepard has been detained on Earth for his cooperation with Cerberus in the second game and gets briefed about an emergency situation. Apparently, after all this time, the Wrath of the Reapers is finally here and they strike hard and fast, obliterating the planetary defenses of Earth in the blink of an eye. Shepard manages to escape amidst all the chaos, and it is up to him to unite the galaxy against the Reapers or to face total galactic annihilation. Graphics. Best looking Mass Effect game by a long shot. Many additional graphical features have been added, and it shows in crispness of textures, shadows, colors, and general graphical details. Most environments are incredibly creative and fantastically designed, with an impressive variety of locations coupled with a few unique scenarios, some of which add a tremendous amount of atmosphere. You'll see a mission take place with an ominous storm looming in the distance, or find yourself deep within the ruins of a long-lost temple where light is a precious commodity. Armor looks fantastic and has, besides practical use, also a lot of customization available that can be colored using a variety of vibrant colors. For some reason, BioWare decided to pull a J.J. Abrams on us when they went a little overboard with the lens flares. Gameplay. When it comes to combat, it's pretty clear to me that Mass Effect 3 excels in its combat. It is by far the most refined out of the trilogy, with a great fluidity and pace to it. Increased reload speed and weapon swap speed help greatly with keeping a constant momentum in firefights, usually consisting of many waves of enemies. Taking down enemies like the invading scum they are has never been this satisfying, with fantastic gun sounds and delightfully brutal impacts on enemies unfortunate enough to land in your crosshairs. Classes are the most refined this time around, providing you with a large variety of unique, powerful and engaging classes, each fully capable of holding its own with a combination of offensive and defensive skill lines. Since I played Adept, the use of weapons wasn't even really necessary. Using biotics is wonderfully done in this game and makes you feel powerful, if not overpowered at times. But then again, going to town as a soldier has its own rewards, with skills that greatly aid during combat and the carrying capacity to carry enough weapons to finally start that small arms shop that you've been dreaming about. Weight is a newly added mechanic in the game that eliminates the restricted class-bound weapons and instead provides freedom in the weapons department, with the only downside of losing the recharge speed of your powers. Party members have your back adequately in combat, although I did see them dropped on the ground, busy with admiring the ground up close more than I'd like. Thankfully, it's quick and easy to revive them when they inevitably screw up. They do, however, use their own skills rather intelligently, but for the best results, especially on the higher difficulty settings, it's more efficient to manually use their powers instead. When not out drastically shortening the lifespan of any soul unfortunate enough to be on your way, you'll find yourself spending time on the Normandy and the Citadel. Here you can do a variety of things, like purchase items, meet up and chat with many party members, both from this game and the past ones, or explore around to uncover a variety of side missions and other intel. The loot is scattered everywhere and is made much more interesting this time around. Besides weapons, you can also find weapon mods and armor pieces. Getting them is even better since BioWare has removed the minigames altogether. Finding them always feels rewarding because you never know what it is, and with the amount of customization available, there's always a good chance that you can find something that you can use. Dialogue-wise, BioWare has done away with charm and intimidation options. Instead of that, they went with severely limited dialogue options and, worse yet, a really cut and dry Paragon or Renegade system where the upper reply is always Paragon and the lower reply is always Renegade. Because of that, the story progression feels much more linear. There's also many more automated responses from Shepard, which can make it feel like your character is, well, not your character. Thankfully, it's not extremely noticeable, but noticeable nonetheless. Apparently, at the time BioWare decided to reduce the dialogue system, they figured, what the hell, why not go all the way, and so they drastically reduced the party roster while they were at it. So now there's only 6 party members total, with the 7th, and arguably the most important one, only available if you have the From Ashes DLC. Thankfully there are some familiar faces that end up on your ship, and it's fun to see how you regroup under the circumstances. Now the upside to all of this is that overall the dialogue itself is written well and matched with equally impressive voice acting. If you liked the romance aspect of the previous games, you'll be pleased to hear the romances are done surprisingly well this time around, with many potential partners for both male and female Shepard. Since this is the last part of Shepard's story, the romances are tied up quite nicely and in a satisfying way.
Then you're extremely lucky that I feel that way too.
I know.
One thing that really stands out compared to Mass Effect 2 is its much improved level design. Whereas in Mass Effect 2 most fights amounted to run to the nearest crate to take cover and pew pew down bad guys, in Mass Effect 3 the levels are designed more realistically and as a result more engaging too. There's still plenty of cover to be found, but it's placed in a more diverse and plausible way and much less obvious as it was in Mass Effect 2. This makes venturing through the surroundings much more engaging and feels similar to Mass Effect 1 in that regard. To get the many alien factions in the Mass Effect universe to cooperate in taking down the Reapers, you will visit many grand set pieces that are powerfully done with a real good sense of investment because of all that is at stake. Hard choices need to be made, and seeing the results of those choices can really make you wonder if it was the right choice to make, which is a delightful way of making you question your morality and the ethics of your actions. Eventually, all those set pieces lead up to an intense battle with a satisfying climax in which you get to see the fruits of your labor. Overall score. Graphics. Easily the highest quality graphics in the trilogy. Music. Ease of play. Mass Effect 3 controls silky smooth, which makes combat all the more engaging for it. Classes and skills. A wide variety of diverse classes and skills make for interesting, replayable combat. Locations. A great deal of diverse and creative environments that are incredibly immersive and atmospheric to venture through. Voice acting. Probably the best voice acting done in the franchise. Romances. Romances are done quite well this time around, with a reasonably satisfying conclusion to them. Choices. Choices made in the previous iterations and during this game can impact the game in nice and unexpected ways. Side missions. The side missions are actually quite good and fun this time around. And now for the downsides. Space exploration. Space exploration is rather dull and the scanning of planets is not particularly engaging. DLC reliant. Without DLC, this game is unfortunately a shell of what it is with DLC. Closing words. Like I mentioned in my other reviews, Mass Effect is one of my favorite franchises. To that end, I've played the games many times over the years, more than I'd like to admit, but Mass Effect 3 has always been the least played out of the trilogy. I guess I haven't played it as much as the others because it actually has an ending. I preferred to keep things open to the imagination, as was easily possible with Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2. And admittedly, after I first finished Mass Effect 3, my desire to replay the older games had died down drastically. Is it worth it? Depends on whether you wish to see the trilogy or not. If you are, for whatever reason, only interested in just Mass Effect 3, then by all means get it. You will love it because it is a fantastic game. However, if you actually want to get the best experience playing the whole trilogy, I strongly advise to just start with Mass Effect 1 first, because after having played Mass Effect 3, due to the ending, it will be hard to go back to the first one, not because it is dated, but because the whole impact of the story, the biggest highlight of the first game, I fear would be diminished. And since I feel there's only a handful games capable of achieving story heights like in this franchise, I think you'd rob yourself of a unique experience. Now when it comes to the DLCs, Citadel is pretty much a must-have, and the same goes for From Ashes. Citadel is just completely fantastic, high-quality DLC content with a satisfying closure regarding your party members. From Ashes is necessary to get more insight into the Prothean race and therefore pretty mandatory as well. Thanks a lot for watching guys, my name is SirDutchie and I hope you've enjoyed these Mass Effect videos. Feel free to conquer that like button to show some love, and I wish you, as usual, a fantastic Reaper-free day.